that. But it's not just fast food that President Trump's tariffs on Mexico could risk pricing some Americans out of buying other things, including cars. The tariffs could raise the average price of cars sold in America by $1,300, according to Deutsche Bank. So joining us now to discuss is Edmunds Senior Manager of Industry Analysis, Ivan Drury. And Ivan, I just want to ask, because Mexico vehicle imports totaled more than $93 billion last year, and that's about 15% of the roughly 17 million vehicles sold in the states during that time, according to INEGI data. So where do things go from here in your mind when we're talking about how big of an impact this actually is?
Unfortunately, if you are in the market for a car, you're either going to have to delay your purchase or you're just going to have to go to used if the prices do scare you away. And right now we are seeing a bit of price sensitivity because, the average transaction price is borrowing between $35,000, $37,000. So right now you tack on that extra $1,300, it is going to be a pinch for consumers.
Actually, no, that's the actual number that people had been. That's more than I have ever spent on my own cars. But let me ask you about the general health of the auto sector, because a lot of people have been saying this is coming at a very bad time for automakers as they cut jobs and continue to worry about costs. So in your mind, is this a problem that is coming now?
I think we're definitely doubling down in the factors that autos are facing right now. You have higher interest rates, so automakers aren't able to subsidize with 0%, 1.9 nearly as often. And on top of that, we're seeing a slow in sales pace. I mean, we've had record number of years where we've had very high sales, 17, upper 16 million units a year, and that's starting to trickle off. And even today's reports, we're seeing some kind of mixed results. So if you factor in the uncertainty of tariffs and the way that that plays into the consumer's mindset, the way that it plays into pricing, it really can have very detrimental effects going forward.
Hey there, it's Heidi here. Just a quick question. Tesla, an American company, plans to build a gigafactory out in the suburbs of Shanghai. Just in terms of companies looking to produce more in these countries, how do you think that's going to affect overall production?
Yeah, that's the thing is that when it comes to production and automakers, it takes years of planning and then the implementation, right? So we're talking about, 3 to 5 years of planning. And again, you have to build. It really does make it hard for the automakers. I mean, we're not talking about something very simple that they can suddenly start producing, Honda Civics from Ohio to Mexico, back to Ohio, things of that nature. It takes a long time. So really the only thing they can do is incur this cost. And some of that will definitely get passed on to the consumers.
And then, Ivan, in your perspective with the millennial consumer, because so many people are not even buying cars anymore, especially if you live in areas like Los Angeles and New York, how does this really pull into the big picture of fewer car sales, especially with that younger generation?
I think for those that are in the market, clearly there's the impact. But for even consumers who aren't in the market right now, if you're talking about ride sharing, that will actually get more expensive because those consumers that, if there's a Lyft or an Uber, they're going to have to pay more for their vehicle, in turn charging more overall. So while it won't be nearly as impactful for someone who isn't a car owner, car shopper, whatever their situation is, there still will be a trickle-down effect that they will feel.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just cars that are produced solely in Mexico, but all of the parts as well coming across the border to consider here as well. All right, well, Ivan Drury, thank you so much for taking the time. Appreciate it.